Hey, back at you again. App driven guy, aka Brent Tiffany, aka Papa Rooster. Um, all right, so this video goes out to Alex over at Rideshare.Supplies. Thank you so much for hooking me up with the signs. Alex wanted me to give you guys a rundown on these signs. These are just basically tip signs for rideshare drivers to help you out there in spreading awareness and getting more tips on your rides. Mostly for the Uber ride drivers. You know, it's Lyft riders know that they can tip. You know, and I really don't feel like it's necessary to have a sign up for the Lyft riders. But there's basically, you can order a pack of these signs, and they're for hanging up on the mirror of your car. Also, there's a bumper sticker that you can put on your car. Your rideshare driver appreciates your tip. This one, I don't think so much is going to get you a tip on your ride. It's not really the point of it. It's more to raise awareness, to, you know, bring awareness to the fact that, yes, we do appreciate tips. Yes, you are allowed to tip your rideshare driver, and, you know, it's a good thing to do. A lot of people, we get that question with Uber. It's like, oh, are you guys allowed to accept tips? Like, hell yeah, we're allowed to accept tips. You know, that was just an old adage that was BS to begin with. When they, you know, started Uber, it was like, you know, don't worry about tipping your driver, tip is included, which has never been true. You know, there's never, we don't get paid, you know, and there's like a little separate payout saying your included tip for your ride. So, you know, I don't know where that came from. I think Travis Kalanick thinks that it's okay to encourage no tipping. That seems to be the culture he's trying to create through Uber, is that, you know, no tip necessary, which is fine. People are allowed to not tip. I feel personally that tipping is kind of a, you know, a spiritual kind of thing that people do, as far as like, you know, it is. It's kind of like a spiritual connection between people. It's like a flow of energy, a flow of money to say, hey, you did a good job here. We appreciate what you did. You know, you deserve a little extra. You went above and beyond. You were a great driver. You got me there safely. You navigated well. Whatever it is. It's just a little way to say thanks, you know, and I appreciate tips. I tip really well. I mean, I've said this in other videos. In the last several weeks, I've given probably $200 in tips to people out there. Burger King, gas station attendants, you know, giving money to homeless people. It's all the same. You know, you give, you get. Anyway, having said that, these are the signs. I'm going to go through them here and give you kind of the rundown of what I feel for each sign. This one, tips are a driver's best friend. I like this one because it's easily visible when it's dark out. You know, it's non-invasive. It's just like, throws it out there like, hey, we love tips. We're humans, you know? This one, tip is the fun part. I've got a couple comments on that one from riders, like, that's what she said. You know, it's fun. I think it's cool. Again, it's not invasive. It tries to just be fun, you know, just kind of throws it out there like, hey, I would like a tip. That'd be great. This one I think is really, really good. If you enjoyed the ride, please consider tipping your driver. Again, non-invasive, but practical. You know, it just says to the passenger, like, hey, we're providing a great service here for you. You know, consider if you were in a taxi cab. I mean, they're way more expensive. And I've heard stories of people, you know, getting yelled at because they didn't tip a taxi driver enough, you know. Again, I understand where people are coming from when they don't want to tip. You know, it's like, oh, the price is what it is. You know, you don't have to accept the ride if you don't want to. Why should I be expected to tip? I don't carry a credit card with, or, you know, I don't carry cash with me. That's why we use Ubers, because it's, you know, a credit card only thing. And I get that, but that's why Lyft included tipping in the app, is so you would have a choice. You know, Uber, you know, Kalanick's thing is, oh, if we put a tip in there, a tip option, that just puts more social pressure on people to leave a tip. But that's crap. We all know that. It's like, anytime you go to any restaurant, there's an option to tip. There's no social pressure. There's nobody sitting there going, oh, you have to tip. But yeah, if you're filling out a credit card slip, you are going to feel like a little bit of a douchebag if you put a 0 on there and sign it. That's the reality of it. But through Lyft, that's not even the case. It's like you drop someone off, you rate them first, then they have the option whether or not to leave a tip. So it's not like you can give them a 3-star rating so you'll never see them again based on the fact that they didn't tip you. And, you know, it's okay. Most drivers don't really care if people don't tip. But it just makes our job so much better. It's like sometimes you're making minimum wage and a tip helps it be more than minimum wage, you know? So anyway, I like that one a lot. This one is my favorite, but I broke it. And I'm not going to put that off on the manufacturers or the company that makes these. They're really high quality signs. I mean, they're thick plastic, you know, very durable. I just, when I was putting it on my mirror, I didn't like fold it very well. I kind of was just trying to force it on there and I broke it. Thinking about it afterward though, like I could have just used some tape and taped it up. But you know, I threw away the broken part. So, but this one was my favorite though. Tips are not included, but greatly appreciated. That's like the, you know, like the adage you hear like at, you know, stores, you know, restaurants, you know, it's like, it's just kind of throwing it out there. Like, hey, we appreciate it. You don't have to do it, but we appreciate it, you know? So I like that one a lot. I think what I'm going to do is, cut it like right here to match the rounded corners at the bottom. And then I'm going to get, they have this really good sticky tape at Home Depot that's like this clear, like almost like silicone type sticky tape. And I'm going to put it on the 4 corners on the back here and put it on the headrests on the back. Because I really like that one a lot. The white signs are really good for nighttime. They really are easy to read during the night. The black sign, not so much. Like this one you want to have up during the daytime. Now, having said all that, I really like the signs a lot. The bumper sticker, I mean, I'm honestly not a bumper sticker type person, so I don't know if I'll be putting it on the bumper ever, to be honest. You know, I have like a big scratch on my bumper, so I kind of might put it on there just to cover that up. But, I mean, I do like the idea of raising awareness for tipping for rideshare drivers, but I've just never been the type, honestly, to put a bumper sticker on my car. But if you are, it's a great bumper sticker to have. The other thing that I wanted to cover that is a downside to the signs, that's a pretty big downside. There's 2 things. I don't use them for Lyft rides. Okay, if I have a Lyft rider in the car, I'll often look up at the sign and be like, "Ooh, I forgot to take that down," and I'll take it down purposely so they can see me taking it down. And I'll just say, "Oh, sorry, that's for the Uber riders," because they know about tipping. You know, that's why a lot of them switch to Lyft. That's why a lot of people use Lyft, is because they like being able to tip through the app. So it's almost borderline. I feel almost like it's borderline insulting to have it up when you're on a Lyft ride. So I try to remember, which is kind of a hard thing when you're switching between Uber and Lyft. I try to remember to take down the sign when I have Lyft passengers in the car. But with Uber, I have noticed that having the sign up has significantly increased tips. Not at night when I'm driving passengers around in the nighttime, like bar rush and stuff like that. Like, people just don't tip through Uber. I mean, occasionally they do, like if you're really just making them laugh and you're having a fun time. They're decent human beings, you know, they'll tip sometimes. But usually at night, bar hopping and stuff, you don't get any tips through Uber. That's my experience. Maybe yours is different. But I have found with the signs, I get more tips at the airport. You know, early morning. Now, the only gauge that I have on that, because I've always gotten a lot of decent tips at the airport through, you know, riders here and there sporadically. But since I've put the signs up, I've had people ask me if I have change on me, which is so important to have change on you if you're going to, you know, have these signs up and be hopefully expecting tips. Because a lot of times people they'll have a 20 or a 10 in their wallet. They weren't thinking about tipping before the ride, but then they see the sign and then they think about tipping. So they'll ask you if you have change on you. So I think that's really important. You know, have $15 small bills in your car for change. And I've had that question asked to me like 3 or 4 times now since I started using the signs. And I've only had like one person ask me that before I started using the signs. And I've been doing this for 6 months. Like the last 2.5 months I've been using the signs. So it definitely does increase tips. The other big drawback to the signs, and this is the really big one that I have, is the safety issue. Because you have it sitting here, you know, up in your field of vision, you know, hanging from your rearview mirror, right in the middle of your field of vision of your car. Now, I came up to an intersection a few days ago, and I was getting ready to cross the street, and you know, it was one of those quick decisions. I don't know if you've ever made like a real quick decision like that in your car, where you're like approaching an intersection, you look one way, there's no cars coming, you look the other way, you know, it's like kind of a borderline where there's cars like kind of out there, but you know you can just gun it and go across real quick. And I gunned it and went across very fast, you know, cleared the intersection, no problem. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, if there was a pedestrian standing on that corner, like right across the street right there where the sign was, and I'm always very careful, but let's say I made that decision and I missed that there was somebody standing there because I had the sign sitting there. And I would have gunned it if that person from the corner would have ran out in the street real quick. You know, I don't have to finish that one. But that's such a rare instance and rare occasion. It's like the same spot that I have my phone, you know, when I have my phone, you know, up there in the window as well. So it hasn't been a huge thing. I haven't stopped using the signs because of it, but it definitely made me stop and think for a minute when that happened. And so, you know, if you're a careful driver, that's not going to be much of an issue. But it's really something to take into consideration. You know, if it's like school time in the morning, you know, if it's just a really busy traffic time, you might want to consider taking them down. You know, if you're picking people up for the airport rides, I really suggest it for the airport rides, because it makes people think. You know, you're doing a big service for them. You're taking them a long distance to the airport. You know, if you know you're going to be doing airport rides early in the morning, just hook it on there before you pick up your rider. A lot of times they like to sit up front. The sign's right there in their face. It's very helpful. I found that the signs definitely, you know, thumbs up. They're going to get you more money. A couple minor drawbacks. But I think overall it's a great product. So again, thank you, Alex. If you want to look up the signs, it's Rideshare.Supplies. You know, again, very high quality. He'll give them to you to try out. I'm not sure how the guarantee works. I think you pay for it up front. You try it out for 10 days. If you're not happy, you just return it. You know, he'll give you the money back on it. But again, great product, great idea. Thank you very much, Alex. I know it's been a long time waiting for me to make this video, but I wanted to give people the best information. And thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll put a link to the Rideshare.Supplies at the bottom of the video for you. Thanks. Goodbye.